Hello and welcome to Theology on Tap. And so happens I found a new show, which happens to be a great show, 9 episodes. I watched the whole thing in a couple of days. It's called And with the letter E. Now I wasn't gonna make a video kind of talking about the whole 9 episodes, but there's too much to talk about. It's a great show. There are more truth in this drama than I ever heard in a behind the pulpit, at a church or even on the news. I mean, this is such a real life kind of a show talking about the pains and how it could be mended, and it's great, So I'm just gonna talk about episode 1 today, and maybe I'll make a couple more videos on the other episodes. But this show called And with the letter E is about Matthew and Marilla Cuthbert. They're getting old and they need some help. All right, so they sent for some help from an asylum or an orphanage for them to bring them a boy who could help them around the farm. But the message gets lost a little bit, and a girl is sent. And this is when we meet Anne. And she says her name is Anne with the letter E because Anne is such a boring name. She doesn't want to be boring. She wants to be Anne with the letter E because it makes it more exciting, So this girl is a, by the way, I don't know who the actress, man, she is really good. This is perfect for her. She's got red hair. Kind of reminds me of what is it called? Annie, right? I thought it was about Annie, but I guess it's a book written by L.M. Montgomery from early 1900s. This story happens to be in the late 1800s. Kind of reminded me of Little House on the Prairie, and it's sweet like that. Compared to the way the people are today. Back then, with all its problems and whatnot, there seemed to be a lot more innocence back then, right? And I think innocence is one of the big keys of having a good life. I really do think that. And even though Anne with the letter E did not really have an innocent life in a way, because her parents died when she was only 3 months old, and she's been in an asylum or the orphanage ever since then. She's been to different homes to take care of, I guess, to become a slave to them, I guess, in a way. And she was not treated well. She has seen things that young girls should never see. And, you kind of feel really bad for her. But she still has that innocence because she's still young enough, and she stands, even with the pains of life, she still stands with joy and happiness because she's young enough to still have this imagination. She actually says, I like imagining things more than remembering things. What a great line. She says at the beginning of episode 1, and as soon as I heard that, I said, you know what, I'm gonna watch this show. It's wonderful, I'm hooked. And she gets picked up by Matthew Cuthbert, and he realizes right away a mistake is made, but however, he is drawn to her as well because she is so lively, with such great imagination. And I thought the scene where she is going to Matthew and his sister Marilla's house, and when she sees the house, she reaches out and grabs his arm, because she's so excited. I teared up a bit there, because within first 10-15 minutes, I am in love with this character, Anne with the letter E. And I want what's really best for her. And I'm hoping that she is such a sweet person and whatnot. And I want to see some good things happen to her. She deserved it, So I watched the whole 9 episodes. Now, it turns out that she had a pretty rough life. She's been abused in more ways than one, and it made her have some kind of temper. She has a short temper, that's for sure. But in order to get away from realities of life, she loves to read, and that's where she gets her imaginations from. So she doesn't talk like a normal girl would talk. In fact, she has a hard time making friends because she doesn't talk like them. She talks like a book that she has read. So she talks like a poetry, And when she first learns the Lord's Prayer, and she's learning the Lord's Prayer, man, I haven't heard a kid learning the Lord's Prayer with such excitement. She loved it, and she is so excited about learning the prayer. And you don't get that today. I don't know if there ever was one like that, but it kind of made me realize that, we get excited about a lot of things, but do we get excited about something simple as the Lord's Prayer, right? And she's saying it with such enthusiasm and delight, right? It's delightful to pray. I thought that was great, made me want to pray too, to have a conversation with God. Anyway, so, hey, there's a dilemma. These siblings wanted a boy, but they got a girl, so what to do now, right? Matthew loves her right away, and he wants her to stay. But his sister Marilla is the one that makes the choices around the house, right? She looked like a really bitter old woman, but she really isn't. But we get to find out why she is a little bit, bitter later on in the other episodes. But, she doesn't want Anne to stay, but eventually she will get to like her. But the episode 1 ends basically with Marilla being really upset at Anne and sends her back to the asylum. Really sad. But she realizes that she made a mistake. This is Marilla made a mistake. And the episode ends when Matthew is running to find Anne with the letter E to bring her back home. But the train is already gone, and the excitement grows, I guess, right? The adventure begins. So that's how it ends. And I want to talk about a couple of things in this episode that I thought was really cool. I talked about the Lord's Prayer. I think that was such a delight. It was really good, right? And there's a question that she asks, and I thought about that too. And she says, if children are such burden, right? Because if you have bad kids or if you have too many children and whatnot, and I know it's like that everywhere. Every time you meet people with little kids, they seem to complain about their kids. It's so hard. I don't get enough sleep. They don't listen and whatnot. And she says, if children are such burden, then why do people keep having them? It's a good question, right? I mean, we shouldn't see young kids as burden. It's tiring, that's for sure. But if we love our children, it's not a burden, right? So I know a lot of people like to complain, just to complain, about raising children. It is tough, but maybe we shouldn't talk like our children are a burden, and especially in front of the kids, right? They should never feel that they are a burden, like how Anne was feeling, that she thought herself to be a burden. And that's not the way we should raise our children. And I thought that was a very, very good question. Right. And then another scene of Matthew and Marilla's neighbor, right, Rachel Lynn, when she comes over and meets Anne for the first time, I mean, she says one of the most mean things, makes fun of her hair, how skinny she is, and all that. And I was so shocked when Anne responded by getting really angry with Rachel Lynn. But then there was something really satisfactory about that, right? Because a lot of times as little children or even adults, when we, I guess when we have the right to get angry, we don't. And we just take things as it comes because it's the proper thing to do. And I think it's still innocent enough when she's told things that hurt her, she responds and hurts her back, Rachel back. She says mean things about her, right? And now she has to go and apologize. And this whole conversation about why Anne should apologize, right? And Anne doesn't want to apologize because she basically said, if I were to apologize, then I'd be lying. I am not sorry. That's really cool. And this whole idea like we should always apologize to adults or whatnot, even though we as little kids, feel that we didn't do anything wrong. That's got to be confusing to our children as well. And I thought that's true. I mean, I know I did my best that we don't say, hey, you got to do this just because it is the way it is, right? Or when the kids ask questions and whatnot, we get tired and we stop answering. Or I even heard sermons and other people say, hey, you know what? This is the way it is because God said it is, all right? God said it and that settles it. And you say that a lot. But if it goes against what we believe in, our natural conscience believes in, then we should be able to explain to one another why it is so, right? Like lying, I think there are good times to lie, but a lot of times we say don't ever lie. And then once in a while, most of the times, let's say about 90%, 98% of the times we tell the truth, but then in 1 or 2 times we don't tell the truth, and all of a sudden we're called liars, right? Little kids are called liars. You're a liar. This is who you are, a liar. But all the other times when we tell the truth, we're not called, hey, you're a truth teller, you're awesome. We don't say that, right? Because somehow we expect our children to always tell the truth, right? In fact, Anne gets in trouble because, she plays, making because of her imagination, she plays with one of, I forgot what it was, I'm sorry, Marilla's, anyway, something that's of value to Marilla, and she loses it. She was playing with it and she loses it, but Marilla doesn't trust her. So then Anne has to lie because Anne thought this is something that Marilla would like to hear, and she gets in big trouble, and that's the reason why she gets sent back to the asylum. And that pressure, what I'm saying, that pressure, you gotta tell the truth or you're gonna get punished, don't lie. That pressure in itself is the reason why she lied, right? I don't know why we do that sometimes to one another. But she does find a way to apologize, right? And I thought that was a really cool scene there as well. But I want to just, encourage you to watch this. There's so many truth in this show about pain and how the families could be made, relationships could be mended and whatnot. But especially for Anne with the letter E, for her to come from such a wicked, wicked place and finding some kind of a comfort in life, and how difficult it is, right? I know that she had a difficult time in the orphanage, but trying to start a family or to be part of a family, that's very difficult as well. And I guess the whole, first season is about her getting adjusted to a normal life and how difficult that may be. And I strongly advise it to watch the whole thing. At the end of episode 9, I don't like the direction it's going, but maybe I'll talk about it. But I end with this, right? This is a quote that she says, but it's from Jane Eyre's, one of her books. And this is so nice. And I've been saying this, in relation to Christianity for a long time, but I guess Jane Eyre says it better. Look, it says this: if the world hated you, right? If the world hated you and believed you wicked, right? If they hated you and believed you wicked, but you and your own conscience approved of you and absolved from guilt, you would not be without friends. Man, that's a great quote, isn't it? That's straight out of the Bible, in my opinion. This is something that she believes in because she doesn't have that many friends. In fact, she has a lot of enemies, but she doesn't have that many friends. But that quote is so wonderful because Bible seems to say the same thing, that in this world there's going to be tribulations. In this world, a lot of people are not going to like you, and then, things might not go well, right? But if your conscience is approved of you, right, and you're absolved from guilt, then you would not be without friends. There's a comfort. There's a comfort trusting your own conscience that you are free from sin. You have no guilt because you know that you're good and you have a good relationship with God or whatever. Then you're okay not to have many friends or not. You're never alone because you have comfort within yourself. And I think that's a great quote. I never knew, I don't think I read a book by Jane Eyre, but I might do that just because of this quote. But a lot of times in Christianity, we tend to focus on human beings are wicked, right? We're too flesh-oriented. We're wicked people, and that God hates sin. So even though God loves people, God hates sin. If you sin, he doesn't like it, kind of stuff. And you sin because you're wicked and whatnot. And I think that kind of, guilt-driven kind of conversation allows people to, yearn for other things in life. Like, we need to have a lot of friends, a lot of things. And I don't know, there's kind of a discomfort, But if your conscience is free from that, and you're free from guilt, then you will not be without friends. Oh, that's great stuff right there. I think that's wonderful. And I've been saying this in all the other videos. I think Bible is very clear. The righteousness of God came through what he has done. He has taken away your sin. You're not considered a sinner anymore. You're free from sin. So therefore, you're free from guilt. And you could accept yourself and rest yourself with God because he accepts you, right? In that comfort, may you live your life. I mean, that's what it's saying. And that's what she wants. That's her imagination saying, man, that's a great quote because that's what I want. I want to live my life in my own conscience, approve of myself and who I am, and no guilt whatsoever. She's not quite there yet, but I'm hoping that as she goes through her life, I know it's just a show, but as go through her life, she'll get to that point, right? Oh, it's so great. It's so good to see innocence once again, right? Innocence is a wonderful thing. Anyways, watch the show, and I might do another video on the second episode. We'll see. Anyways, thanks for joining me today. God bless. I'll see you next time.